Hey, we're Saints. Father Chris here. Welcome to our Crucifixional live stream. Glad to have you beautiful people with us. Today, as we film this, is June the 1st. It is the first day of June, and it is also a deadline. Our parish has been asked by our archdiocese to host a convention for the entire church in America. Hundreds of churches, thousands of people. Our patriarch is coming, our new metropolitan. It's awesome. It's really going to be a blast. It's later in July. One of the things that we always do at these conventions is prepare a commemorative journal, a souvenir journal. It's a book where people make donations and place ads for their businesses, welcome bishops, commemorate loved ones who may have died, just, well wishes to the host parish and so on. We've been advertising for, not weeks, right? Months, maybe even longer, that June the 1st is the deadline. And yet, so many people are, I'm telling you, I wish I could tell you how many are still dumping in their ads to this day. The clock closes at 11:59 p.m. and my gut says it's going to go all the way up to 11:59 p.m. The question is, why do we procrastinate? Why do we always wait to the end? I think there are a lot of answers to that question, but more importantly for Warrior Saints, it's we have to overcome procrastination. And let me tell you, we put out a lot of content here at the Warrior Saints Academy, but I'm the biggest of them, right? Nobody procrastinates more than me. Even it may seem like we're getting this all out there and we're working hard, but I'm always to the end, always to the deadline. Why is that? And sometimes we go beyond the deadline and then ask forgiveness. Please let me slip it in. Why does this happen? Why do we procrastinate? The answer to that question, there's a ton of really solid science. I was even reading a book about how the biology and an infection in your body can help lead to procrastination. It was fascinating. We'll talk about that another time. But for us as Warrior Saints today, I want us to be cognizant of the fact that we have a responsibility not to procrastinate. We've got to get our stuff done. Now you think about if you are a farmer, right? And Proverbs talks about this, that if you're a farmer and doing agriculture, growing crops, you can't delay on planting your seeds. You can't delay on watering the crop. You can't delay on harvesting it because you'll die. You won't have food when the winter comes. The farmer knows every moment has to be regimented and calendared, if you will, so that there is food to eat when times are hard. Proverbs tells us that sometimes people are, and it uses this great word, sluggards, right? Like those who are lazy and procrastinators. The soul of the sluggard craves and gets nothing, while the soul of the diligent is richly supplied. Listen to it again. The soul of the sluggard, he wants, he craves, but he gets nada. But the one who is diligent, the one who sets the schedule, follows the schedule, completes the project before the deadline, is the one who will receive richly. It's so hard to do, and I'm confessing before the world, it's hard for me to do because I like to procrastinate. There's so many fun things going on, and I'm easily distracted, and so there you go. Next thing you know, I'm up till midnight the night before it's due. All of this is to say once again that as Warrior Saints, we must be like the diligent and not the sluggard. So how do you do that? How do we find ourselves moving forward without procrastination? Well, I'm going to give you a beautiful tip. I just started reading this book. It's an older book, probably in the 80s. I don't know when it was written, but I think probably in 1980s, by a gentleman, a doctor named Mihai Csikszentmihalyi. And the name of the book is Flow. Many of you may have read this book or at least heard of Csikszentmihalyi or heard of the book Flow. And he talks about that state of focus when we are just digging in and really getting stuff done. And he talks about how you've probably experienced it, where you felt like you only worked for 5 minutes and you look up and it's been an hour or two or more. That is the state of flow. So now how do we get into flow? He has I'm not done with the book, so I haven't, seen all of his work and his research, but he talks about 8 specific things that are important. And the first is that we have to have a goal, a target, right? Like we don't just approach work, but we have a goal for the work. And it may be an overarching goal, the entire project, and it can also and should also be the first step. The second thing is that as you are progressing, it should be measurable. So like as I'm working on step 1, I can see when I've completed it, right? The fourth step, and this is one that I find to be really the most fascinating, is that once before that, the third step, obviously, the third step is that the challenge of the work and your skills are up to task. So it's not that your skills are way above the challenge or the effort required because boredom creeps in, says Csikszentmihalyi, but that the two are equal, or even that the challenge may be greater, so it gives us something to strive for. So if we can have some goals and really focus on what we're doing, we can really, put our skills at the same or below, at a deficit to the challenge, that we can then enter the serious state of focus where we're looking at it, we're focused, and those 5 minutes becomes 2 hours in the blink of an eye. This is a task that I'm chasing right now myself in my own writing and my own teaching and my own work. And we are going to put together at some point very soon, without procrastinating, a lesson on this very topic. So if you're interested in learning more about how not to procrastinate, we're going to do the research, we're going to put it together, we're going to package it for you nicely at warriorsaints.org. So you need to get there right now and subscribe to The Way of the Warrior Saint so that you can learn how to get yourself into a state of flow. Stop procrastinating like the sluggard who craves and gets nothing, but become one who is a warrior saint, who is diligent and will be richly blessed by the Lord. We'll be back tomorrow. Love you, beautiful people. As always, keep walking on the way of the Warrior Saint.